Today I'm going to replace rear brake pads on this Cadillac XT5 2017. The procedure itself is quite straightforward and very similar to the same of other cars, except maybe a couple things. One is before you proceed, you need to enable service mode to service brake pads in the rear wheels from the menu in the car. And secondly, this car has electrical motor which engage parking brake, and you have to unscrew this and this bolt with a hex like this, and remove it and make sure the pushing piece is going back into caliper. So I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. To enable brake service mode, press and hold on the pedal, brake pedal, then press and hold this button and wait until a service light will show up. Okay, flashing now. So release the button and press it briefly again. Now you can go ahead and work with your brakes. After I activated service mode for the brakes in the menu in the car, I need to, for now, just to release those two bolts in here. So I just release these two hex bolts, keeping this unit electrical brake still in place. And now I need to unscrew this bolt and this bolt in here. Okay. Okay, I'm going carefully, and I have a hook which is like this, and I'm going to hang this over the spring. Just make sure my hose is not damaged. Okay, I hang the caliper. It's safe now. So now actually you can proceed with the replacement of brake pads. They loose, as you can see, which is good sign. So this side brakes, but that is not loosened at all. It's very tough. So you can replace pads right now and replace lining as well. Here's you can see it, but I'm going to detach this piece altogether, clean it, see it condition, and put the lining on and then install it back. So to detach, I need to unscrew two bolts, one and another one, and after that I will do next step. Now after I remove this piece as a whole, I need to clean it and see what's the condition. And the important part is to check how these pins are moving. So they should be moving freely. If not, you open this boot and put some grease in it. Sometimes if boot is damaged, these bolts are rusty completely, and even if you grease it, they are not moving, so then you have to replace them altogether. So in my case, they're still moving well. I don't see any damage on the boot, but independently on this, I have to grease this again just in case. So as you can see, it's rusty, but new lining should be installed here very accurately, otherwise parts will not be moving easily. So that's why I'm going to clean this first. Sometimes brush is not even enough and I have to use file instead. So now I clean all this rust for new lining to be installed. Like this. Okay, it should snap to some degree. Okay, like this. So potentially our brake pads will be installed in here like this and moving back and forth. So this part looks like it's still moving. How about another one? Another one is very tough, very tough. It's not moving at all. And this is where my personal trick is applied. When installing brake pads like this, I remove 0.5 millimeter from here and here, this side. So make it thinner, and this side as well. And for all, if you're talking about 2 wheels, then for all 4 brake pads should be done the same. So these small ends need to be make thinner, so that when it work, it moving back and forth on the lining freely, easily. Then your brake will work more effective, and they will last much longer than this one, right? So I'm going to grind sides. Okay, I grinded sides of brake pads, as you can see, both sides, and made them a bit rounded so that they are not like scratching the lining, but rather sliding on the lining. And also I notice these new parts have holes in here, as you can see. The old one, they did not. The factory, this is the factory ones. So this is for it should be like this. It's like bracket to release the pads, which looks like improvement to me. Anyway, now you can apply some grease to here, but the problem with grease is just a bit. The problem with grease, it will dry out within a month or 3 months and fall off, whereas when you grind the parts, the metal piece, it will stay like this forever, right? So use it in here. Okay, it's moving really easy now. Okay, and the second one, oops, oh, it's a worn indicator on new parts. Old one didn't have this. So this is my inner side. I use this piece from the inner. Okay, preparation are complete, so this piece can be installed back to the car. But before installing brake pad support, I need to make sure this is the cylinder is retracted completely back inside of the caliper. And to do this, because this is electrical mechanism of applying parking brake, so I need to remove this electrical piece, and then I will show you the screw which you unscrew it down and then push it this piece back. This is second hex bolt. I unscrew it, and now I need to remove the electrical piece. Okay. So leave this piece like this for now. Okay, it's laying. Maybe I need to be more careful with it. Oops. One hand. So we work with caliper now. As you can see, I removed this, and inside there is a hex. I don't know, maybe it's not visible from the camera, but believe me, there is a hex. And the same hex wrench can be used to screw this. So you insert it, it's deep inside, and rotate it clockwise. Rotate it to the end. It rotates easily. Now, after I finish rotating the hex key to the end, I can use just this regular carpenter clamp to retract this piece. You see, it's going back slowly. What it does. Okay, that's it. So removing it, and now I need to reattach electrical motor back. Otherwise, when I install this whole piece, it will be hard to match those gears inside of this piece. So do it now. Okay, I reattached electrical brake back to the caliper, install and tighten these two hex bolts, and now is the time to install this piece, right, the support for the brake. By the way, if you need to remove this rotor, it's easy actually to do. You just need to unscrew this hex screw as well, or star screw, I don't know how to call it, but anyway, you have to unscrew it. To prevent rotor from rotating, insert a screwdriver there and fix it, and then I use this tool to unscrew it, for instance, if you wish to remove rotor, for instance, and to inspect it, to see how it worn out from other side as well. But if by any chance you damage this screw, this internal star, it's not really a big deal. You can leave it even without screw, because rotor will be kept in place by wheel nuts and not the screw, for sure. So that's why it's just not really necessary. I decided to remove rotor and see what's inside, and as you can see, this strip is much wider than on the external, right? It tells me that part from inside was not moving away on the lining and really didn't work well. So I decided to use this block to polish it a bit like this, just evenly throughout the surface, to remove the rust at least and save my new part. I finished polishing or scratching my rotors slightly, and now it's time to install it back. I suggest you put some grease in here like this. Next time when you need to replace rotors, for instance, it will be much easier for you to remove, because sometimes it's rusty and attached to this hub so badly, and it's not easy to remove. So just be more prepared for that. And where's our screw? Right here. So apply some grease to screw as well, actually to all screws, bolts in the brakes. I would recommend to apply some grease. For instance, I use this one, anti-seizure, which seems to be good. Do not tighten this bolt. As I said, it doesn't do much of work, so just a bit to keep the rotor in place, but do not tighten. I installed back this support, and now it's a time to install this piece back, like so. Okay, hard to do this with one hand, so we'll continue. Tighten the bolt in here, so hold it with one wrench and tie it with another. and lower bolt do the same. Final inspection to see all my joints, bolts, everything. To remove, by the way, hooks, and you can attach the wheel and lower the car. Now don't forget to do your last step, which is disabling service brake mode. To disable brake service mode, press and hold on the brake pedal and then press parking brake again and release it, and release again. Now you just release parking as it normally, so that's fine. Now it starts moving, your calipers reset and you can test them.